Now, let's say we, fast forward a couple of notches here and take it to phase, I don't know, 1, 2, or 3. You have, let's say, built the foundation today of uh, anywhere between 100 to 1,000 people, and you're starting to see good engagement. People are, jiving with each other, and you can see the buzz starting. Now, how do you scale that without compromising your quality of interactions, right? I think that's also a big challenge I'm sure people face when they're building communities, right? How do you do community building, let's say 201 or 301?
Cool. Yeah, I completely agree with Priya, and definitely have used those hacks, Priya, for my startup, and obviously at least. I think would go from there. It's always a staggered manner, and it's always that you build upon the foundation that Priya just mentioned, right? Which means that you take the same principles, Arjun, but you try to divide the responsibilities. So as a community manager, we are everything, and Priya would probably agree. We are sometimes a social media manager, we are sometimes a content strategist, we're sometimes the community manager, of course, but we're also dealing with internal stakeholders, external stakeholders, and they're trying to again be the peacemaker in most of these situations, especially when things escalate, right? So if you were trying to do this in the second step or the third step and trying to hit that 100,000, 5,000, 10,000, I would say that keep looking at what are the main values and rules of the community. I think really investing time to do that from the start, because at the end of the day, it's always building upon itself, right? If your initial community members, exactly what Priya said, those 10 people become your cheerleaders, they'll get those 100, the next 100, right? And then those next 100 will get the next 1,000 for you. And they'll only come because of two things. One, if you're providing values to them, like interesting values that all of them can come like behind, they're agreeing on these values that you've already agreed on. Second, they can see outcomes. How are those outcomes? Like what are those outcomes? Also, something for you to think about is one, it could be career related, or it could be something personal completely. Like maybe they just got mentorship, maybe they got some advice that helped me with them in their job. Second outcome obviously is more tangible, which is that they got their next job there. They found, they probably learned something. They probably got a certification. They probably, found the next step to something that they were stuck at, right? And at the end of the day, you are essentially creating a very interesting format where you are leveraging human connection to get again two goals sorted, which is values and outcomes, right? And that will only happen with what Priya said when you have your platform sorted and you have your values sorted, and then you keep building from there. Another thing that you can do, something actually I missed in from a trend perspective, is now you see a lot of people incentivizing these initial members. So something that I really want to do at Create a Chart also is that I look at people who I've worked with before and I'll be like, okay, you know what? Because you've been my cheerleader, I'm going to give you an opportunity to come work with us, right? So that could be monetary, that could be something else. Because at the end of the day, it is a give and take relationship, and you only use the people who you know you can trust and build upon. And these are the people who get their own network, right? So it's a very like interesting ecosystem where you will start seeing your members act like your community managers themselves. In fact, something that cool that happened, and probably Arjun, you must have also seen this, is every time people put something that's non-professional on LinkedIn, because the community is so strong, they will say, "Hey, this is not Facebook," right? Because they've already put out the value so clearly from the start that people know this is a professional platform and there's certain way of acting. So this is the biggest community that we are right now, there. Anytime you violate any of their community guidelines, which could be probably the kind of content, probably abusive content, something that can really hamper somebody, or even in the past we've heard of political content that the platform is taken out, is because the platform decided that this is what will not fly, right? So really making sure that you have gotten that foundation right. Second, highlighting people who are already your cheerleaders and who you can depend on. And third, incentivizing them so that they can keep getting their own larger network to the fold is the way to grow the community.